and welcome back to the End of the Fourth Football Podcast. It is me, your host, B-Hizzy, aka Brendan Hurst, and I am joined by Prez, the Prez, Chris Moyney. How are you doing, man?
I'm all right, mate. I'm all right.
Good stuff. I mean, we do that intro word for word every week, and it's I like it. It's that consistency is pretty good.
Yeah, but it sounds like you've got a stutter when you go the Prez.
I don't know why I did that, but I feel like it works. Prez,
it
the
does
Prez.
work.
I feel like it works, so we're going to keep rolling with it. Maybe once the podcast blows up, we'll get that on a t-shirt like Prez the Prez, something like that.
Definitely.
Well, as we always do at the start of our week preview shows, I did say week review shows last week, so apologies for that. But week preview shows is our week 6 preview, but we do have some business to attend to right then. So I went 10-6 on the pick'ems last week, 2-4 on Scorching 6, and 1-0 on locks, which means I am currently 46, 33-1 on the pick'em, 13-17 on Scorching 6, and 3-2 on locks, which is good. Chris, you went 8-8 on pick'ems. Tough sitch. 2-4 on Scorching 6. Again, disappointed because you said it was going to be a winner, and I trusted you. We went 6 for 6 pretty much, and I put a bet on.
Who did I?
Yeah, you can put it. You can look at it this way. It's like, we've not had a winner yet, but we also haven't had a flat out loser. We're not going to win 6 at all.
Yeah.
Maybe there is optimism there. It's getting the train moving. We're figuring things out. But yeah, you went 2-4 on Scorching 6, just like me, and 1-0 on the logs, which is very good. So that puts your all-time record at 41, 30-1 on the pick'ems, 11-19 on the Scorching 6, and 3-2 on locks. And the guests went 10-6 on the pick'ems, 3-3 on the Scorching 6, and 0-1 on locks, which is the first defeat for the guests, which is good. Means that's wide open again. So we'll see what happens this week. But that means their all-time record is 44, 35-1, 13-17, and 4-1 on locks. So it is still pretty neck and neck. This week, 5 weeks into the season, we'll see if somebody comes up with a somebody can take a huge lead this week. But we will start with another unfortunate Thursday night game. I still think we should pretend these don't happen, these rubbish ones. But we do cover all the teams and all the games on this podcast, so we will cover this one. Commanders at Bears on Thursday Night Football. Now, my analysis, I've gone with a slightly different tactic to analyze a lot of these games this week. We'll go for it this way. The Bears have only attempted 88 passes through 5 games, and that's the lowest by any team since 1982, and that was a strike year in the NFL. So that makes what they're doing way, way worse. It's about 17 passes a game, and I get it. They don't trust Justin Fields. The run game is all right. It's been working. They had 184 against the Texans, I think it was, something like that. So the run game's working, and they're trusting that more than they trust Fields, mainly because of the offensive line that they don't have. So despite people thinking this is a playbook from the early 1930s, maybe, it's not horrible that the Bears have been they have more awareness of their offense than the Packers do, for example. They know they can only run the ball.
I think with this game, I'm ultra excited. Can't wait. I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight. What thinking about it? Honestly, did they think about these games when they sold them to Amazon? I mean,
you see, the thing is though, like you look at last week's game, you think Colts Broncos, 2 quarterbacks which have been especially Russell Wilson, very good throughout their careers.
Yeah.
Matt Ryan's the former MVP, and you think last week, at the start of the season when they're making the schedule, they're thinking, oh, that'll be a good Thursday night game, and of course it wasn't. But this one, I'm not sure what they were thinking with this one. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, I'm looking right now at the Sunday slate. Mm-hmm. There is at least 3 games you could have put in ahead of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You could have had Seattle and Arizona.
That would have been an interesting one, yep.
You could have had the Jags and the Colts.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you can't because you would have had the Colts last week and this week. But, you've also got the Giants-Ravens there. Both of those are
that could be any of the primetime slots. That's game. That's a decent one.
But Sky have picked their games this week, and I'm not happy with the 6 o'clock one, but hey-ho.
Yeah, it's a real humdinger. That's one of our games later on. But this Commanders team, this defense has been terrible against the pass. Really, really bad. They've allowed the second most passing touchdowns, and all opposing quarterbacks they've faced this year have had a passer rating over 100. That's not a good start, okay? So I think if the Bears passing attack is going to get rolling in any game, it's going to be this one.
Yep, I agree with you.
But similarly, the Commanders haven't been able to get much going in the passing game. You look at Carson Wentz's stats, and they're not bad. I think he's thrown 10 touchdown passes to 4 picks. But like we said in the review show on Tuesday, it seems a little bit like they are dependent on splash plays, and they just can't protect Carson Wentz. He's been sacked 20 times over the first 5 games. Which is 4 a game, and that's for a quarterback with an injury history like Carson Wentz, you got to worry. It's really only a matter of time until this maybe goes one way or another, and they're lining up somebody else under center in a game.
Yep, definitely.
So it's going to be a real humbling. I don't think this game could be worse than last week. Like, the teams are bad, right? But I can't see it.
This could be a game though that goes something like 33-30. It could.
Yeah, something crazy. Just because we've been slating it. I'm going to take the Bears to win here. I just think that I think with the way the Vikings allow Justin Fields and the Bears offense to really get into a groove and open up the passing game with how effective their run game has been throughout the season. I feel like that the Bears will be pretty comfortable. Justin Fields will be pretty comfortable, and the Bears will win this one here. So I'm going to take the Bears.
I'm going to go against you.
Yep.
Let's start the way we need to go on. Commanders. I think Carson Wentz I think this is the week for them to show up, because the Bears' offense is very limited.
Mm-hmm.
So, which means if they have to throw it, they're in trouble.
Mm.
So I'm going to go Commanders. It's not a scorcher, obviously. We'll never ever take the Thursday as a scorching 6 pick.
Mm-hmm. Good. That's a good start. We were pretty similar in the picks last week. So to go against each other the first game of the week, that's good. All right. Patriots at Browns. Bill Belichick facing his former team. Not many people know that.
It's another one of these games, because it's who's going to be quarterback for the Patriots? Probably Bailey Zappi, I would say.
Mm-hmm. That's one of the things that's one of my points is I don't think it really matters. Do you start Bailey Zappi, who was clean last week? He was pretty good against this Browns top ranked defense in the league, or do you start at maybe like a 60% at best Mac Jones? I don't know what his status is, what he's been like, but
I think this week is a difficult one for New England, because Bill's the best defensive coach in the league. There's no doubt about that.
Mm-hmm.
So if they can limit, I nearly said Jacoby Brissett to 3rd and 11, 3rd and 14, and force them to throw, he's not that kind of player.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
However, if the defense can't stop Nick Chubb, and I'm not saying he's easy to stop. If they can't stop him, Browns will win this by a landslide.
Mm-hmm.
Both teams are running the ball well.
Mm-hmm.
Both teams are very limited at throwing it. I think this is going to be a very run-heavy game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take the Browns. I think, regardless of who's at quarterback, I think the Browns defense has to step up at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And why not against the greatest defensive coach of all time?
Yeah, no. All right, well, I'm going to say this. I think the Patriots are going to it's going to be their game plan to take away the Browns' top-ranked rushing attack. They do have the best run game in the league, with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt back there, which has been good for Jacoby Brissett and has really been the reason they've been able to, tread water and stay afloat throughout these first, 5 games. I know they're 2-3 right now, but, we were only talking about last week. They're a couple plays away from being 3-0 to start the season. So
yeah.
It maybe goes one way or another. Regardless, they're going to attempt to put the game on Jacoby Brissett's shoulders. And I think that's a problem. Despite having a pretty decent offensive performance last week, when the pressure's on Brissett, he's proven that he can't come through. He's only averaging 212 passing yards per game, and has thrown a killer interception when The team was driving to take the lead late in all three of their losses. He did it against the Jets, did it against the
Chargers.
the Chargers, and who did they lose to last week? The Falcons.
Mm-hmm.
Did they beat the Falcons? I can't remember. I know they did. I know he's done it in all three games. So yeah, it's a problem. And again, yeah, I don't think it's going to matter who's really at who's at QB for the Patriots in this game. I think their run game's pretty solid, and I think they're gonna get things figured out. So for that reason, I'm going to take the Patriots. So we're 2 for 2 on separation this right now. All right then, we'll keep rolling. This is the 6 p.m. game on Sky Sports. It's not Sky Sports Packers anymore, so must be happy with that.
No.
49ers at Falcons. I don't trust the Falcons offense right now. They've got the 30th ranked passing offense and are missing Cordell Patterson, who's been a huge contributor to the run game, which currently ranks 3rd. But it's just, Tyler Algier, Caleb Huntley. I don't know if they could really, have their way with this 49ers defensive front like they did, the other week. That being said, I don't think the 49ers offense is much better at the moment. They're struggling to get Deebo Samuel involved. He only has 20 catches so far this season, which is 4 a game. And that's a problem. He only has 2 touchdowns. He had a big game against the Rams, but I don't think that this 49ers offense is very good. So where I think this game will be dictated is the 49ers defensive front, because I think they're going to be able to stop the Falcons running the ball and force the ball into Marcus Mariota's hands, get him out of his groove, force him into 3rd and long situations, to which they've only allowed a 30% conversion rate so far this season, which is really, really good. So it's not a nice game to be on Sky Sports Packers, if I'm honest, but I'm going to take the 49ers here. I'm pretty comfortable about that. I don't really trust. I think the Falcons are actually like a pretty sneaky, frisky, spicy team. But
did you not say, depending on the line, that this would be your lock?
Yes, and I've changed my mind.
All right, okay, that's fine.
I've changed my mind.
No, I've got to agree with you. It's a poor game for Sky to pick. Again, I mean, even just looking at the 6 o'clock slate, they could have been Ravens, Giants, or Colts, Jags, something like that. But they've gone with what they've gone with. I think they obviously have to show every team. So that's fine. So I'm going to take the 49ers here. I think it'll be a very drab game. I'll catch it in red zone.
Yeah, I think so. I think that the 49ers probably a good booking to get a couple defensive touchdowns. There's your Hizzy tip of the week. I know, Chris, you're a gambling aficionado, but there's my call. Get 49ers anytime defensive touchdown. Book it.
Okay.
All right then. Let's keep rolling here. We're doing good. Jets at Packers. This is going to be
the first scorcher of the week.
Scorching 6, number 1.
Packers minus 6.5.
Okay.
Humiliated last week in London. Team humiliated the week before always bounces back. Your boyfriend's got a point to prove. I mean, on the other side of the ball, the Jets' offense isn't exactly
setting the world on fire.
Well, yeah, I was trying to think of a nice phrase there. I think the Packers defense, I mean, it's not travelled anywhere, has it really? So it's stayed in Green Bay, so it's not really that far to travel. So, I mean, I've got to go with them. I think this week they will win. I think they'll give the Jets a kicking just to show, listen, lads, we're about. I know the Jets scored 40 points last week. However, the Dolphins had nothing.
Yes, that is true. I think there is going to be a lot of soul searching done for this Packers offense, which welcomes the Jets' 25th ranked defense to Lambeau Field. So I think if there's any get-right game for the Packers, Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, I think it's going to be this one. We know Matt LaFleur is, ruthless after a loss. He hasn't lost back-to-back games as the Packers head coach. I think he's 10-0 or something like that. And they're like ridiculously efficient when it comes to points per game, yards, defensive yards allowed, that kind of thing. So they're pretty ruthless. So yeah, and plus this is throwback week for the Packers. They're wearing those pretty clean throwback 50s uniforms, which are really nice, and I wish they would be our full-time home uniforms. Despite the 50s being a pretty terrible time for the Packers, they are pretty sick. I think the Jets, they've not been setting the world alight, but I thought they were impressive. We all say that it's like you have to what's the word?
You have to look at opposition.
Yeah, you have to look at the opposition and say, look, okay, the Dolphins were pretty short-handed. But as I've been saying, you do need to execute when the ball is in your hands, and the Jets did it. On the ground game, they were ruthless. They punished the Dolphins over and over again, and the Packers have struggled to stop the run all season long. So maybe that's something to watch out for. And the Jets can emulate their New York neighbors in the Giants by throwing a lot of crossing routes or scheming up a lot of crossing routes for Zach Wilson to throw to. The Packers have allowed the most receiving yards in the league to crossing routes this season. I couldn't find the exact number, but it is over 500. 568 sticks out in my mind, but I could be wrong. But I'm sure it is definitely over 500. So, right, to be frank, it's clear the Packers need to run the ball, right? They need to pound the rock, especially with Aaron Jones, who is their best offensive player at the moment. He's averaging, 6.3 yards per carry, and it really balances out their offense and allows Aaron Rodgers to get into a rhythm and opens up that pass game because they can, move into play action passes, that kind of thing. The unit as a whole struggles a lot when they try to get greedy and insist on passing. When Aaron Jones, like I said, is averaging 6.3 yards per carry, it's clear that they don't understand their own offense by essentially freezing them out like they did last week in London. So I am going to take the Packers to win, but that 6.5, just with how vulnerable the Packers offense and defense has been, I'm going to take the Jets to cover here.
Okay.
Are you going to take Green Bay to cover?
Yeah. Any scorching 6 pick, it's my pick.
Yeah. Okay. All right then. Jags, Colts. I mean, interesting one. This is already 2 times they've met in the first 6 weeks. So, we know the Jags. The Jags beat them. Yeah, we know the Jags beat them 24-0 in the last game. It was week 2, if I'm not incorrect.
Yep.
So, strange one. So we know that the Colts offense couldn't put a couple of Lego bricks together right now. Matt Ryan has more picks than touchdowns, and Jonathan Taylor is a shadow of himself from last year. And on the other side, I think Trevor Lawrence is putting together a sneaky impressive season despite the last couple of weeks. He's got a bit of a turnover problem, with the fumbles. But yeah. I'm gonna, I know you don't like it, but I'm gonna give him a little bit of a pass for some of those fumbles in the rain. 8 touchdowns to 4 picks is a really good leap forward from last season. So he's been really good and probably one of the Jags' best players so far this year. And I think as a whole, the Jaguars are a much better football team than last season. They seem to have a cohesiveness. They're not, kind of mired by that, like, I don't know what the word is, but the atmosphere that Urban Meyer created, and they just seem to, be clicking. I mean, we say it does start with execution, and they are 2-3 right now, so they haven't been executing correct. But I think they have the best roster in this division. The defense is legitimately really, really good. And the offense is kind of picking things up. They're getting things moving. So I think that the Jags are still probably, I think, the favorites to win this division.
It's a very strange game. I'd be very surprised if the Colts put up 2 goose eggs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Very surprised. I think the thing with the Colts is they have to stay in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the games that they've won, when they've stayed in them, they've had that one fluke or that one moment where the game just turned and it hands them the win.
Yeah, like the pick off Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah,
and the Broncos being rubbish in the red zone.
Yep. Mm-hmm. But then again, the guy still has to kick the thing through the post.
Yep. True.
I mean, so it's a hard game. Now, what I should do here is go to Colts so the Jags win.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to take the Jags. I think they're on a bit of a roll, and last week losing to the Texans, that's not good. and they have to respond this week. So I'm going to go Jags to win.
Yeah, you have to put things right. Losing to the Texans, them getting their first win of the season, and kind of opening up this division. But despite all that, I think the Jags are going to be fine. I think it's just a small blip. Doug Peterson had this at the start of his Philadelphia reign. They were kind of just implementing things, getting things moving. But I think the Jags are going to be fine. I think they will win this game, no problem at all.
Let's go.
Keep going. Here we go. This is an interesting one. Vikings at Dolphins in Miami.
It's a scorcher.
Okay.
And I've got the line on Vikings at -2.5.
Okay. I'm just writing down my... I can't do that, can I? Here we go. Easy. Okay, right. I think that, as we've said, the Dolphins are vulnerable, and there's definitely a blueprint for beating them. Problem is, nobody's really been able to exploit that blueprint so far. The defense seems to take drives off, as proven last week versus the Bears, but the offense can come through at the right time and get things moving. It seems that the kryptonite for this Vikings team is playing on prime time, and that starts with Kirk Cousins. So I think that the Dolphins have crashed down to earth with extreme velocity over the past 2 weeks. And Tua Tagovailoa is out again. Teddy Bridgewater is questionable, so it's trending towards Skylar Thompson making his first career start for this one. I don't really know if there's much he can do. He just makes too many mistakes that this Vikings team can capitalize on. Getting hit 15 times, lost 2 fumbles through a bad interception last week. That being said, a week with the starters, a week of practice can make all the difference. It is any given Sunday. And I don't really think that the Vikings have the secondary to deal with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. I don't really think they have the players to do it. I think they can generate the pressures and get maybe him out of his groove. So if the Dolphins can somehow open up the passing game, and that involves running the ball to open up play action, that kind of thing, which hasn't been their strong suit over the first 5 weeks of the season. They don't have a very great run game. Raheem Mostert, Chase Edmonds, been kind of struggling so far. I think they're 30th ranked rushing offense in the league. So big problem there, I think. But I think if they can open up the passing game, get Thompson and the other two in some kind of groove, I think this one could be closer than people think. And I'll pass it over to you for telling my picks on this one.
Well, just replay last week.
Yeah.
It's Kirk, 1 o'clock.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
1 o'clock, Kirk. You know me. I'm very high on Kirk Cousins when it comes to 1 o'clock, Kirk. And, they've got the best wideout, let's face it, in football.
Needs to catch a touchdown pass, but sure.
Running backs, it doesn't matter if you don't have to score the points. You just have to get them into range.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Then you've got, CJ Ham, you've got Dalvin Cook, you've got Adam Thielen, you've got the tight end. Alex
Matterson, very good.
So there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Defense can stop them. I think that the defensive front could definitely rush Skylar Thompson. And when you rush a rookie,
yep,
he will make mistakes, or he's been told, get the ball to Waddle, get the ball to Hill, they're the stars.
Yeah.
Once you start posting it to people, you throw picks.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go for it. I'm actually going to take the Vikings, surprisingly.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, -2.5.
-2.5. Do you want to give a score for this one? Obviously it's just a fun thing. I have this one closer than people think. I think that I'm going to have the Vikings winning 24-23, and with that line, I'm going to take Miami to cover, which I'm not too happy about, but I'll take it because I'm going to stick with my score prediction.
I'm going to go 31-13.
Wow. Okay. It's fair. It's fair. I think you might be closer with that, all things considered. I've kind of listened to my analysis. Are you going to lock them up?
Yes, I'm locking them up.
You're going to lock them up. There you go. That's actually a surprising line, all things considered.
1 o'clock, Kirk.
All right, then. Fair enough. Lock them up. That's a good way to do it. We shall keep going, but first we're going to go for a break, and then when we're back, we will hit Bengals at Saints. Bengals at Saints, Chris. Bengals at Saints. Interesting one. It's going to be Joe Burrow's homecoming game. He returns to Louisiana for the first time as a pro, and he's been steadily improving over the last few weeks. I know you say he's overrated. I know you say that part of his game is because his offensive line is so bad that he looks better because he can make off-schedule stuff and move around and scramble and, make throws on the run. But after being sacked 13 times over the first 2 weeks, he's only been sacked 5 times in the past 3 and no more than twice in a single game. So that's a really good turnaround for this Bengals offensive line. And maybe it's down to the units they're facing. But
maybe. I think with the Bengals, they are finding their identity, which is obviously it's important that they stick to what they're good at. I've gone this week's game's a scorching 6 prediction.
Okay.
-1.5 Bengals. I've got to say that's almost a gimme. I watched them against the Ravens, and if it wasn't for the cheat code known as Justin Tucker, they would have won it.
Yeah.
Or it would have gone to overtime and then potentially lost it. But they're a good enough team to win this game. The Saints are pretty poor.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got players, but aside from a few, it's
not looking good.
No, definitely not. And I'm going to go for the Bengals to win this as well as cover.
That's fine. -1.5. Okay. I think, you said it on the Sunday Night Football review. I think the Bengals are pretty unlucky to be 2-3 right now. But their defense is only allowing 17.8 points per game, which is impressive considering they faced some actually pretty good offenses so far. They faced the Dolphins, which they did have 2 at the start of the game, and they did score 42 on the Ravens, and they scored however many it was. So they faced the Ravens, who obviously have got Lamar, who's on fire,
and they faced Magic Mitch.
Yes, and Magic Mitch, which we can say now that's probably not a decent offense, but regardless. My concern with this is the Saints. I think they are a pretty poor team, and Andy Dalton can cook in this offense. He did show it over the last 2 weeks, but with Michael Thomas, Jarvis Landry, who hasn't really done anything anyway, and Chris Olave all questionable, I really worry who could be dialed up to save this offense. You've got Alvin Kamara, but aside from Christmas Day a couple years ago, I don't know if he could do it all himself. Taysom Hill is unlikely to have such a fantastic game 2 weeks in a row. So, for that reason, I'm taking the Bengals to win, Bengals to cover, and they are my lock.
Okay.
Very happy with that. As we know, our rules on the show is the line has to be less than a touchdown for the lock to go through. And, yep, it is in the lock zone. So we're all good with that. All right, then. Let's keep going. Ravens at Giants.
This is a good game. This should be a Sky game.
Yeah.
Now, everything I'm going to say, you're now going to have a pop, right? The Ravens are better than the Giants. Fact. The guy wearing number 8 in purple is better than the guy wearing number 8 in blue. The running backs in purple are better than the running backs in blue.
I'm surprised at that. I don't know. I think that Saquon has kind of been a symbol of this resurgence under Brian Daboll.
I just think J.K. Dobbins, though.
He's not really... He's coming back from a big, massive ACL injury.
Wait, I haven't finished my analysis
on you go. Yes, sorry, on you go.
The tight end in purple is better than the tight end in blue. receivers in purple are better than receivers in blue.
Mm-hmm.
And the defense in purple is better than the defense in blue.
Mm-hmm.
So everything I've just said points to a Ravens win.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I'm going with it. I think Daniel Jones this week will have a back down to earth game.
Yeah.
He's due one, and I think it's this week. He will make some ridiculous throw straight to Marlon Humphrey, and Marlon Humphrey will catch it and run the other way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's my tip of the week. A pick 6 in the Giants game.
There you go. Please gamble responsibly. Right. Is that you finished?
Yes.
All right, then. That's fine. Now, we know that Daniel Jones absolutely cooked that Packers defense, which was pretty much fully healthy last week. You know, they had David Ajayi back. Adrian Amos played after, exiting the Patriots game with a concussion. And this Ravens defense is going to be without Marcus Williams and Kyle Fuller. I don't know if Kyle Fuller's done too much, but both of them are on IR regardless. As I say, Saquon's been a symbol of the Giants' resurgence under Brian Daboll and is contributing to 179 rushing yards per game. That obviously includes Daniel Jones, who's running it really well. The Ravens are allowing 108 rushing yards per game. And when you look at rushing, you kind of think, with the Baltimore rushing attack, you kind of want to include Lamar in that, and he just hasn't been running as much, especially the last 2 weeks. Less than 75 yards in both of the last 2 games. And only has 2 rushing touchdowns this season, when that was attributed to be much of his, fantasy owners must be raging. He's dicing it through the air, but, you could get, Tom Brady's dicing it through the air. Carson Wentz dicing it through the air, so, you take... What's that?
Kirk Cousins, 1 o'clock.
Yes, there you go. Kirk Cousins at 1 o'clock dices it through the air. So, when you draft these mobile quarterbacks, you look for a guy like Lamar who can run it, and he just hasn't been. Like he has still got like a decent amount of yards, but the yards don't translate into touchdowns seemingly, and he hasn't been making the best decisions when it comes to throw the ball. He did throw a lot of nasty picks against Buffalo and the Patriots in those 2 games. That he was meh. So it's a worry for me, and I just think that this Giants team just blew me away last week. I can't believe how effective they were in moving the ball against this Packers defense, which has not been playing well, but does have a lot of great names, really, really great names. And I think they're for real. I'm gonna take the Giants to win here.
I'm going to take Ravens.
That's fair. But yeah, I'm going to take Giants to win. All right. We're doing good. Buccaneers at Steelers. It's not going to be good for your friends. Scorcher, yep.
Bucks minus 8.5.
Yeah.
Poor Kenny Pickett.
Mm-hmm. He's facing another great defense with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this week and still hasn't thrown a touchdown pass. I think that's going to continue this week, unfortunately. I think he'll throw another couple interceptions. It's unfortunate.
It's a nightmare for Pittsburgh right now. I mean, your schedule's hard, but I mean, don't throw a rookie in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not as if he's even got anything to play with.
I know. Najee Harris just isn't working. And yeah, they're facing some great defenses. Stop the run and force it into the quarterback's hands. But, when the quarterback's a rookie, he's gone from out of the frying pan into the fryer, and now he's actually part of some kind of, this deep fat fryer is now caught on fire, and it's not nice. No. It's quickly becoming a huge fire risk. The fire alarm's been sounded. Everybody should evacuate. And I think that next week this team could this chip shop, this Pittsburgh fast food stall could have burned down. I have no idea where the hell I'm going with here, but I think it works. I think it works. Yeah. It's a convoluted analogy, but I think it makes sense.
When 911.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a problem. It's a problem. I think Tom Brady's playing well. He hasn't looked, really impressive in a lot of games, but only 1 interception so far this year compared to 7 touchdown passes. So he's dicing it through the air, and he's just doing what Tom Brady does. The Buccaneers defense is only allowing 16.6 points per game. The Steelers offense is only scoring 15.4 points per game. This is a really, really ugly matchup, and I just don't see any part of the Steelers offense which could uproot the Bucs here. They got 3 last week. I don't know if they get 3 this week.
This could end in disaster for Kenny Pickett. And the problem for the kid is that when you go to a team, your first team as a quarterback can fail. The world gives up on you.
Yeah. And you get disrespected.
They don't give up on a Mike linebacker. They don't give up on a safety because nobody's paying attention.
Yeah.
You're the star of the show, meant to be. I think they need an awful lot of help, and I think this year's a lost cause for the Steelers.
Yeah, I think Mike Tomlin has this incredible record of no losing seasons as Pittsburgh Steelers head coach, but I think that is definitely going to come to an end, despite him being a master at his trade. I think that they're just going to struggle to get out of this hole, which will be 1-5.
Yeah, I think I mean, I think if TJ Watt hadn't got hurt, it might have been different, but no.
I don't know if Mitch Trubisky's still playing because they might not be in such a hole defensively that they need a spark on offense.
Maybe. But where are we going with the 8.5?
I'm going to take the Bucs to win and cover. I don't think there's really any chance for the Steelers this week. This is obviously outside the lock zone. And good reason. So I just don't see this going any other way.
Nah, I'm joining you there.
Yeah, and Tom Brady's a whiz against the Steelers as well. He just doesn't seem to ever lose to them. So yeah, Buccaneers win. We're in agreement there. All right then, 9:05 game, Panthers at Rams.
Right, this was definitely out of the lock range. The line it's not a scorcher, but I'm giving you the line anyway. 10.5.
10.5. Yep.
This is where the Rams season finally kicks off. Before the Panthers fire sale begins. Where do you see the Panthers doing anything in this game?
Well, for one thing, they're not going to have Baker Mayfield in this game. He has a high ankle sprain. It means PJ Walker is likely to start for Carolina at quarterback.
Again, Aaron Donald is quaking his boots.
Yeah. It's I think you're right. I think this is a get right game for the Rams. Did you tell me that the Panthers have traded Brian Burns?
No, the rumor is they're trading him.
Right. Okay. Yes. Okay. Well, if that happens to be true, I just he's been one of their only bright spots in that team that's so far this season. Obviously, this is going to be Steve Wilkes' first game in charge. He's the interim head coach. Matt Rule fired earlier this week.
I wasn't hired. I was ridiculous. I was upset about it.
Did you get your CV across? Yeah, maybe they just want you for special teams assistant instead because you were a kicker.
Yeah, well, they said they would go with someone with NFL experience.
That's fair enough. Maybe try the high school level first, and you can figure things out from there. Yeah,
defensive coordinator.
I don't know where this, the Panthers defense is really going to trouble Matt Stafford and the Rams offense, despite that offensive line being so banged up. It's contributed, the Rams offense only scoring 16 points per game, but it's been a disastrous few weeks for the Rams, as we know. But you think this is the one they'd get right with. No Baker Mayfield. If Brian Burns does end up getting traded to the Cardinals, really the only saving grace the Panthers have is J.C. Horn on defense, who's been the best corner in the league so far this year. He's only allowed a 23.8 passer rating, and that's the lowest among all corners, which is not something you'd expect from one of the toughest teams to watch in the league. Teams like quarterbacks just aren't putting the ball in his direction.
Yeah, but that's what happens when you're a corner. You just throw it to the other side.
Yeah. They've got Dante Jackson, I'm sure. Owen always gets angry at Dante Jackson, so there is that. But yeah, I'm going to take the Rams to win here. It should be pretty comfortable. It's in LA. I don't really see. This is a very similar to the last game. Just to see where the Panthers kind of come up on the scoreboard.
Yeah, I would say Rams, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. Cardinals at Seahawks. This could be an interesting one.
This is a scorcher.
Okay. This is number 5.
Cardinals minus 2.5.
Okay.
Now, I've been talking to a few listeners of the show. You're the conservative one, and I'm the one that likes to throw big, bold predictions.
Mm-hmm.
And I've actually landed on quite a few of them this year.
Mm-hmm.
So this one's a lander. I said the Cardinals have to be 3-3 by the time DeAndre Hopkins comes back.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the Chiefs would annihilate them.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they would beat the Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
You know, then it all went wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
then it all went right.
Mm-hmm.
Then the quarterback forgot that you had to get a first down.
Yep.
This week is going to be brilliant.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Kyler's coming alive. The defense is coming alive.
I just traded for him on fantasy, so fingers crossed. It's me and you in fantasy this week, so.
Is it?
Yes, it is.
I haven't actually looked, to be honest. Come on, Geno Smith.
I'm going to be in a bad mood.
I've got 1 o'clock Kirk.
Yep.
What's I saying? You've thrown me off.
Apologies.
I just think Kyler Murray will come alive. I think this game's going to be more a running game, I think, for both teams.
Mm-hmm.
I think both defenses are struggling a wee bit with the running game.
Mm-hmm.
So on that basis, I'm going to take the Cardinals to win, of course, with a minus 2.5.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they'll win by about 10 points. I think it will be a bit of not a blowout, but I think it will be competitive. But I think the Cards should win it.
Yeah. Okay. Right. I think that after fighting to the death with the Eagles last week, the Cardinals have a really good opportunity to improve to 3-3 here. As you've said, I think that is a really good point for them to be in at this stage in the season, being, essentially only being able to throw to Marquise Brown. Their defense held Jalen Hurts to no touchdown passes and sacked him twice. That's they did pick him off as well, so that's good, right? Now, I think the Seahawks offense, however, is nothing to sneeze at. They've been scoring, they have 25.4 points per game. And I think really they are unlucky to be 2-3. They should be 3-2. They should have won that game last week. I think Taysom Hill has a 1 in a million years performance. And that's the reason why the Seahawks didn't really blow them out of the water.
Yeah.
Because the Saints are bad and the Seahawks are not a bad team by any stretch of the imagination.
No, definitely not.
So I think that the Cardinals play their best football on the road as a team. They are 2-0 on the road this year. They've scored more points in 2 games on the road than they have 3 games at home. Don't really know if that's a good metric, but it's something maybe to have a look at. This Seahawks team, they're good. I think this could be close. I don't think this is going to be 10 points. I'm going to take the Cardinals to win, and I am going to take them to cover, but I think 10 points is too much. I want to see if maybe that defensive performance by the Cardinals was not so much a fluke, but have the Eagles possibly been figured out to an extent, and they're emptying their playbook with more stuff, and that's why it was only 20 points last week. And maybe I'm wrong, and maybe the Cardinals defense isn't for real, but they played well. We say execution. We throw execution in our listeners' ears. You still have to execute. You can watch all the film, you can practice all you need, but when it comes to Sunday, you need to do it on the field, whether the ball's in your hand or not, whether you're on defense or offense. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a good litmus test for the Cardinals. If they're 3-3, DJ Hopkins. Oh my God, DeAndre Hopkins gets back. Yep, DeAndre Hopkins gets back. They will be in a good opportunity to really challenge the 49ers for this division crown, because I don't think the Rams can keep this up with with the offensive line. I think they're gonna they'll win this week, but I think they are gonna crash down to earth eventually. And the Seahawks, I think, could be similar. I think they, I hope not, because I'm kind of like a fan of Geno. I like to see him do well. But I think that it is kind of obvious that I think eventually they will just be figured out, and they will eventually crash. So yeah, I'm going to take the Cardinals, and I'm going to take the Cardinals to cover.
Okay.
All right, then. Bills at Chiefs. This is a belter of a game. It's going to be a good one.
That's the 9:25 Sky game. And it's the final Scorching Six of the week.
All right, then.
I tossed a coin on it. Bills -2.5.
Bills favorites.
It's in Buffalo.
Is it in Buffalo? It's in Kansas City, is it not?
Have you read that? I've read it wrong. Wait a minute. I've read it wrong.
Let's fact check. Yeah, this game is in Arrowhead.
I'm very surprised at them being favourites. Oh, and the line's already moved.
It's moved. Oh, wow. Okay.
I'm definitely taking it now.
Yeah.
Buffalo -1.5.
Okay. -1.5. Right. Analysis for this game. Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes have been unstoppable through 5 weeks, just like we all expected. Really, this is not a revelation for anybody. This isn't some kind of holy text that aliens would, aliens could have no knowledge of Earth, and they could read documents 5,000 years in the future, archived documents, where this archived document right here, where Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes have been unstoppable. And to those aliens, it would just make sense. They'd have no, they don't understand what any of it means, but something's telling them it makes sense. This isn't a revelation. They've combined for 29 touchdown passes and just 6 interceptions. This is such a good matchup, and I'm so excited here. And while it was a little bit uncomfortable for the Chiefs on Monday night, they did find a way to win, and that's where the belief in good teams comes through. Obviously, they overcame the referee making a very strange decision. But like I say, I'm not interested in hearing excuses for that. I want to see who wins and who can overcome decisions when the referees make bad ones, because they do. It's a way of life. This is what every single fan signed up for when they decided to become an NFL fan. And that's something you have to live with. The referees make bad decisions. But yeah, the Chiefs survived, came back to win, and I think that shows a lot of their pedigree. We were maybe a little bit worried they lost to the Colts. I think, oh my God, they only, was it 2017 to the Colts or something like that? Only put up 17 points against this Colts defense, which isn't bad, I want to say. It's not horrible. But you think with the Chiefs offense, who can really stop the Chiefs offense right now? That's my next point, is both offenses are scoring more than 30 points per game, but the real eye-opener is that the Bills defense is only allowing 12.2 points per game. Now, regardless, I don't know if that means anything against Patrick Mahomes, because he's a freak of nature.
Yeah. I mean, when we did our analysis on the Ravens-Giants, I said the guy in purple was better than the guy in blue, blah, blah, blah. On this game, the guy in blue is exactly the same as the guy in red. Tight ends, pretty similar. I would say Travis Kelce would shade it. Running game, the Chiefs win there. Wideouts, Bills win it.
Bills win there, yeah.
Defenses, very similar.
Very similar. I think the Bills win that one just because of these points per game they're allowing.
Now, because of everything I've said and the line, I have to take a Bills win.
Yeah, I agree with you. Bills win. And Bills cover. -1.5. this is going to be a really good game. This should be a Monday night game, to be honest. I know the Chiefs played Monday night last week, but you're the NFL. There's no rule. There should be no rule which says that can't be the case.
Yeah.
And I want to see, and did you know that Patrick Mahomes overtook Troy Aikman in touchdown passes on Monday night?
Oh, was that his 4 amazing passes for about 5 yards?
Regardless, he overtook Troy Aikman, who was in the commentary booth. And, funnily enough, they didn't mention it.
Oh, well, so there's not going to go and nick my record off me.
I think when that happens, you got, I don't necessarily think that's Troy Aikman's fault. The league back then was more run heavy. It wasn't as pass heavy as it is today. And really, is it any surprise Patrick Mahomes can, eclipse Troy Aikman, who is a Hall of Famer? Let's not take that away. He wasn't. He's the 90s equivalent of Jimmy G, right?
Oh,
and that's not a bad thing, right? So, yeah, I think it's just a difference of eras. It's not a bad thing. No shame in Troy Aikman. I'm sure he cares with his 3 Super Bowl rings and Hall of Fame jacket and all that. So, but we're sidetracked there. That's for another podcast. Sunday Night Football. No guests again. Disappointing. Nobody wants to be upstaged by us on the pick'ems. That's what it is.
That's what it is. But I do have a guest that I'm going to send this to.
Okay. All right. That's fine.
My plumber's going to do it.
Oh, right. Yeah.
He's a Jags fan.
I thought you were kidding on.
No. He is a Jags fan.
Ah, right. Okay. All right. It's fair enough. It's a multitude of guests. I mean, is it really a guest? I don't know. We should get Billy or Steve on for the review show.
Oh no, don't like their podcasts. Oh no. Well, we do one every week. Theirs every 2 weeks.
Yeah. It's like they're kind of just like just a bit of part timers, We're the real grafters. We're always coming up with shows twice a week, every week until February. Book it.
And then we get a week off before we're back for the off season.
Yeah. We jest. We love those guys. They are good friends of the show. But okay, let's talk about this game. Dak Prescott is officially out, which I think kind of changes the face of this game. We did say Cooper Rush showed that he's mortal. He had his worst performance last week. Then he wasn't bad, but he did show that he won't be able to hold this team together. Really, it was against a stout defense. Let's be fair. The Rams defense is good.
This game is going to be a very, very exciting game for a multitude of reasons. I haven't seen much of Jalen Hurts. What I mean by that is because I've been watching Red Zone more than the Eagles.
Yeah.
You only see the splash plays.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what he does when he's on his own 25-yard line. Or he's backed up to zone 15. I want to see what he does. It does have he's got a cheat code as well. It's called AJ Brown. The other receiver, Smith, he's okay. Running game is okay. Defense is spooky. And I think the Eagles have to lose at some point. But is it against a Cooper Rush-led team? I don't know.
I agree with you. With Jalen Hurts, you look at, he plays well, but his numbers aren't impressive. He only has 4 touchdown passes, and that was a surprise to me. I thought, wow, that's really not a lot. But he has been making the throws when he's need to make those throws, and he's been killing teams on the ground. He's contributed to an Eagles run game, which has totaled 160 rushing yards per game on average. The Cowboys are allowing 117.6 rushing yards per game. So this run game is where the Eagles can continue to be effective and keep the Cowboys off the field and extend drives and wind the clock down from their first possession. I think this Cowboys defense keeps this one close. The Eagles, they give the Eagles a bumpy ride because they think that they are beatable. They're definitely beatable, but I think you're right. Against a Cooper Rush led Cowboys. I'm not too sure that's going to be the key to success. And maybe it comes down to Jalen Hurts having to make those throws. I think he's going to do that. I'm going to take the Eagles to win here.
I'm going to join you there.
Yeah, this was a tough game to pick. I really had a thought. I did think that the Cowboys are going to make a game of this tomorrow. Well, I really do think that this is going to be close. But I think that the Eagles improved to 6-0 and take a 2-game lead over Dallas. I do have the Giants winning. But I don't know. I don't know if they keep it up. I'm on the train right now, but I'm ready to dive off at any second.
So the doors are opening quick.
Yes. Emergency exit. Okay. Yes, Eagles win. There. We are pretty much in agreement over the second half of this show. Let's finish it off. Broncos at Chargers. Broncos on fucking prime time again. Not interested. I'm not interested in this game. Give me the Chargers. I'm not gonna watch it. I'm off on Tuesday, but I'm not gonna watch this.
I have to watch it. I'm working. The starters say yes to the dress.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
I'll flip a coin.
To be fair, I don't know if that'd be much more entertaining than the Broncos offense. To be fair.
Yeah, I think Chargers will win this. There's no point even trying to analyze it.
I think that no touchdowns for the Broncos last week. Who should be find a draft pick for that, in my opinion. But regardless, I don't have much hope against the Chargers defense that while it is allowing 27.2 points per game, when the Broncos are scoring 15 points per game and are more useless than a chocolate fire guard in the red zone, I've got no hope. I think the Broncos are a terrible, terrible situation. Hackett could be really on the hot seat after this one. I think if he's not already, I think he's about to throw his seat into a volcano.
Nathaniel Hackett could be on the dole queue on Tuesday morning.
I would be surprised if they get rid of him during the season, but I mean, who knows? We don't know what to expect from these new owners. They might not accept it. They think that this roster is good. This roster's far too good to be 2-3. So
they gave up everything for Russell Wilson.
Yeah. But you just got to wonder whether the Seahawks just saw Russell Wilson in decline and somebody not wanting to rush the ball, and somebody maybe losing a touch on his throws. But that's maybe not the case. But I don't know. It could be a factor, and that's why they were, in a sense, happy to get rid of him.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, yep. So that's us in agreement there. Chargers there. That's it for this episode of the End of the Fourth podcast. Thank you very much for hanging out with us, as you always do. You can check us out on Facebook, which is End of the Fourth Podcast, on Instagram, which is at End of the Fourth Pod. On Twitter, it's the same thing, but instead of the word fourth, it's 40H, End of the Fourth Pod. Check out Let's Talk Sport on Twitter, which is at Let Talk Sport, and you can check them out. If you're watching the show, check out the description. You can find a link to their channel. They have seemingly endless amount of shows every day. They go live talking about NFL, MLB, NHL, NBA, association football, cricket, rugby, as in there. I've seen a couple times.
Fencing.
Yeah, I'm sure you could ask if you want to start a fencing show. Get on to Dan. He's buzzing. Walking, that's their running. That's the thing they want. You want to start a running podcast? What's your favorite shoes to wear on a run? When you're doing your couch to 5K, I don't know. It's totally you. But Dan's desperate for as many things as he can to expand the Let's Talk Sports Network, and we'd be happy to have you on board, our big, lovely sports family. But that's it from me, B-Hizzy. Chris,
the Prez is signing off.
Thanks as always, and from both of us, ciao for now.